The dragon's scales had never failed her, not in 1,000 battles, not against plasma fire or void predators. But one day she felt an itch. Just a tiny, harmless spot beneath her golden armor. She laughed it off. Dragons don't worry about things like that. Not until the human nurse, small, fragile, annoyingly persistent, touched that very spot, and everything changed. What she uncovered wasn't an injury. It was a secret buried deep in the dragon's blood, one that could rewrite the balance of power across the stars. If that opening gave you chills, stick around, because this story dives deeper than scales and fire. It asks about humanity's strangest strength, the ability to heal what even gods can't. So, before we uncover the truth behind the dragon's spot, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story with your fellow sci-fi fans. You're not gonna want to miss what happens next. Valith the Unyielding. That was the name etched into every galactic record, whispered by soldiers before they faced death. The veteran dragon of the council, 30 meters of muscle, steel-hard scales, and molten breath hot enough to melt a cruiser's hull. She'd fought in 100 wars and outlived empires. Entire species had sung songs of her fury. But even legends feel something once in a while. On that day, the dragon felt an itch, barely noticeable, a small, pale mark beneath her shimmering golden scales. To anyone else, it would have been meaningless. But Valith knew her body better than anyone. Every scar, every molten crack, every ridge of her armor had been earned through centuries of combat. This mark didn't belong. She flexed her wings, stretching across the council's medical chamber. The floor plates groaned beneath her weight. "It's probably just a heat spot," murmured the alien medic, a six-eyed Kavarian whose hands trembled even as he spoke. "Your scales can sometimes. Do not tell me what my scales can do," Valith growled. The medic stumbled backward, nearly tripping over his tail. None of the alien physicians wanted to be here. The last one, who suggested an invasive test, had nearly been roasted on the spot. But the council had insisted she undergo a full examination after her last mission, an ambush near the Darzan Rift, where she'd taken a hit from an unknown weapon. Valith hated the idea of being examined. She was not some fragile creature that needed care. She was the weapon. And yet, that spot still burned. When the Kavarian failed to provide an answer, the council made a peculiar recommendation, a species known for their precision and calmness under pressure. Humans. At first, Valith laughed. "A human? You want a soft-skinned, bone-fragile ape to touch me." The council insisted. They sent a young human nurse named Aiden Cross, calm voice, unarmed, wearing nothing but a white med uniform with an insignia shaped like a sunburst. He was the smallest being Valith had ever allowed inside her chamber. When he entered, the dragon eyed him with suspicion. His heart rate was steady, not racing like prey. He looked up, way up, and smiled. "Hi there," he said. "I'm here to help with your spot." For a moment, silence. Then the dragon's laughter echoed like thunder through the chamber. "You?" she rumbled. "You think you can help me?" "I don't know yet," he said, "but it looks like something that shouldn't be ignored." That answer intrigued her. Most beings bowed, begged, or fled. But this one simply observed. He moved closer, step by step, his scanner humming softly. Valith's massive eye followed him, slit pupil narrowing, "Stay there," she warned. "If you make one wrong move, I won't," Aiden said quietly. "You're safe here." Those words struck her like a javelin. "You're safe here." No one had ever said that to her. Not once. The great Valeth had been a weapon since birth, forged in the vats of the Visir Empire, bred for obedience, programmed to kill. Safety had never been hers to feel. The human raised his scanner to the light. "Interesting. There's something under your scales." Valeth's nostrils flared. "Under my—" Before she could finish, pain shot through her chest like lightning. She roared, a sound that shattered the medbay lights. The ground cracked beneath her claws. Aiden stumbled back but didn't run. He simply shielded his eyes and said, "Easy. It's reacting, but not to me. Something's inside you, beneath the dermal layer." The other medics fled the chamber. Only Aiden remained. His calm didn't waver, even as molten breath steamed against his face. "Valeth," he said, his voice almost gentle now, "may I touch the mark?" Her first instinct was to crush him for his audacity. But curiosity, that cursed, human kind of curiosity, had already taken hold. She lowered her head slowly. "Do it." He placed his hand against the golden scale. His palm looked absurdly small against her armor, but when he pressed down, the mark pulsed. Not just light, movement. A vein of silvery energy rippled outward like lightning trapped beneath glass. "What is that?" Valeth whispered. Aiden's eyes widened. "It's not infection. It's a signal. Some kind of living code." Valeth's wings shuddered. Memories flickered of the Darzan rift, of the weapon that had struck her. The blast hadn't been meant to kill. It had been meant to seed. A parasite? A weapon? Or something worse? "Can you remove it?" she asked. Aiden looked at her, not with fear, but with something else. Determination. "I can try. But if I'm right, this isn't just about you. Someone's trying to control what you are." Her scales tightened, the glow beneath them growing brighter. And for the first time in centuries, the mighty dragon felt something she didn't recognize. Fear. Fear.
The medbay went silent after that. The great dragon, Valeth the Unyielding, was breathing harder than she ever had after battle, each exhale fogging the reinforced glass. Beneath her scales, that faint silver glow pulsed like a heartbeat that didn't belong to her. And there, standing inches from a creature who could end him in one breath, was a human nurse. Unarmed, unafraid, Aiden wiped sweat from his brow. His scanner flickered, struggling to process what it was seeing. "It's rewriting your biology," he murmured. "Something's trying to bond with your neural patterns." Valeth's tail slammed the floor, shaking the medbay. "Explain," she demanded. "It's not a disease," Aiden said, voice steady but low. "It's a control mechanism, artificial. Someone's trying to turn you into a weapon again." The words hit her harder than plasma fire. Memories surged, her creation in the vats of the Vosir, the endless wars, the programming that whispered commands into her mind. Kill, burn, obey. She had broken free centuries ago, or so she believed. Now, someone had reignited the leash. "Remove it," she growled, the air vibrating with rage. "I can try," Aiden replied, his eyes narrowing. "But if I make one wrong move, it could trigger your entire nervous system. It might kill you." "Then be careful, human," she hissed, lowering her head. "I have no interest in dying, and even less in being controlled." Aiden climbed a small maintenance platform near her chest plate. His fingers worked quickly, attaching bioscan nodes and opening a field surgical interface. The glow beneath her scales intensified, forming intricate fractal-like patterns across her armor. They weren't random. They were language, ancient code. Valeth, he whispered. This isn't Vosir tech, it's human. Her eyes snapped open. Impossible. I wish it was, Aiden said. Whoever hit you used tech reverse-engineered from human neural nets. They're trying to link you, to build a symbiotic AI inside your living body. She let out a sound halfway between a snarl and a whimper. They want to make me obedient again. No, Aiden said quietly. They want to make you a host. The realization hit like a thunderbolt. Valeth had faced fleets, gods, and monsters. But the idea of losing her will, of becoming a passenger in her own body, that was a horror beyond death. Her claws clenched, shaking the medbay structure. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Aiden shouted, Valeth, stay with me, don't let it sink. Her mind was fracturing. She could hear the alien code whispering, submit, become, merge. Then, a touch. A small hand pressed against her scales again. Warm. Human. Hey, Aiden said softly, his voice cutting through the noise. You're still here. You fought for your freedom once. Fight for it again. Valeth's breathing slowed. Her focus returned. She locked eyes with him, those tiny brown eyes filled with fire that rivaled her own. Do it, she said. Whatever it takes. Aiden activated the field injector. The medbay exploded in light. Valeth roared, the sound ripping through the walls of the council spire. Her body convulsed as the silver veins turned white-hot. The parasite fought back, sending spikes of pain through her spine. But the human didn't stop. He stood on the shaking platform, holding his ground, shouting commands that no translator could follow. And then, with a single pulse, the signal died. The mark beneath her scales vanished, leaving behind only a faint scar and silence. When the dust settled, Valeth opened her eyes. Aiden lay nearby, unconscious but breathing. The medbay was destroyed. The council's representatives stared through the cracked glass, speechless. The dragon lowered her head beside the human. She could feel his tiny heartbeat, fragile but steady. You freed me, she murmured. Later, when the council questioned what had happened, their reports would describe an unknown human medical procedure. But Valeth knew better. It wasn't medicine. It was something far rarer. Connection. Humans, she realized, carried a strange power. The ability to touch the untouchable, to reach into the darkest parts of the galaxy and simply care. And that, she thought, was what made them truly dangerous. And that's how a human nurse, a single fragile being, saved the most feared dragon in the galaxy. Not with weapons, not with strength, but with empathy. It's a reminder that in the endless cold void of space, what truly changes the universe isn't technology or firepower. It's connection. The same thing that makes us human, that unexplainable drive to reach out, to understand, to heal. The Galactic Council once tried to show humanity's weakness. Instead, they uncovered its greatest weapon. If you felt something during this story, even just a spark, then you already understand why humanity keeps surviving where others fall. Because no matter how vast the stars grow, we'll always find a way to make the impossible personal.